What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Why We Love PlayStation VR. Sitting all the way across the city from me this week and every week in space, and no one can hear him scream. It's Jeremy King.
Right? Nobody can hear you scream in space.
That's
That was a great tagline. And sitting over there, I can hear him scream and cry all the time. It's just wails through the city. Is lonely old Brian Paul.
I like whales through the city. Are there also dolphins through the city? And every week on Why We Love PlayStation VR, we dip into the PSVR archive, we pull out a game at random, we dust the blow off of it, we check into it, see if it's been given any love by developers, any updates, any DLC, any patches, and then we let you know, the little game cats, if it's worth your time. That being said, what game did we decide to play this week?
Endspace. I'm just kidding. I didn't have to write it on my hand.
That's all right. Endspace by Orange Bridge Studios, released September 19th, 2017. This is an old one.
Yeah, this is an old one.
For $19.99. Jeremy, what kind of game is Endspace?
Space shooter. It's like a space dog fighting space shooter. Shoot 'em up.
Yeah, single player, mission based space shooter. Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm. Have you played a lot of these games in your life?
Not in VR, you know, but maybe in the past, because you think of like Star Fox, you know, and all that jazz, you know, because that was a good old, but I mean, that gave you a little bit more varying terrain and whatnot, but not a tremendous amount of space shooters besides like the old Battlefield or Battlefront or whatever those ones were, the Star Wars ones, but none like this in VR, that's for damn sure.
All right. Well, I guess I'll start off by saying that this game has been on sale over 10 times since it's come out, and it's been on sale for as little as $5, and that sale specifically was not even a PlayStation Plus sale. There's been a ton of updates, graphical updates. They added HOTAS support, bug fixes. There was a really annoying proximity alarm that used to be like nauseating. Anytime you flew close to anything, it used to beep, 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 like really loud. You can barely hear it now. It's like, because who cares?
Right, good, yeah.
Yeah, so they tons and tons of updates.
I wish I had a good memory because, first of all, I forgot I owned this game. And second of all, I apparently had played it way back when because it was progress. And I was like, Jeremy. And I mean, it all seemed familiar to me as I jumped in I started it over.
Yeah.
But so I forgot about all the little shortcomings from back then. And I wish I recalled it because I'd love to see the changes from now. But I thought it was, we'll get into this.
Yeah, of course we will.
Let's dig deep.
So you start the game up, and you're after its brief title screen, you're standing there in a docking bay. You look to your left, and there's like a dude standing there.
A dude he's all torso and not much leg.
He's all torso.
Yeah, like he can take size 28 pants, but his shirts are long. But other than that, yes, that space dude is right there giving you missions. He just stands there until you select a mission, then he'll talk to you and be like, but then you look to your right, and there's like your mission select screen. Mm-hmm. And you look around, there's like a big docking bay. This is the only other person you see for the entire game. That's it. Yeah.
Did you ever get the impression where you're like, are we the last two left?
I know, right? Am I gonna come back from this? Yeah. Like the word "end" is in the title, so maybe this is my last flight.
Yeah, there's a real strange feeling of like isolation in this game, where you're just like, I feel like there should be like a huge squadron, like a whole bunch of people
running around.
Right. Do you ever play like old Wing Commander games where like there's a bar and you can go and like, just talk to the bartender, you can talk to your crewmates and stuff. There's mission briefings with like 15, 20 people in the room. You know, the game's like 30 years old. This game came out 3 years ago, and there's one other person in it. I was like,
that's it.
We're the only two here. It's really strange.
Right. Well,
but so then you look at the mission board, right? And there's 11 missions total. I mean, you have to start at the first one and work your way through them.
Yeah.
But walk me through it, man. You select a mission. What happens?
You select a mission. There's a quick little briefing, and then all of a sudden you're just in your cockpit and just like blast into the area that you're gonna defend. You're kind of like you're more like a for hire type of a person, correct? You're not part of like, because they always see, what was the title they call you all the time? Oh my God, I'm forgetting. but it was a term that made me think that you're not part of like a space force or anything like that, but you're more like an independent contractor, and you're there to defend whatever it is that needs to be defending, you know. But yeah, you basically you shot out there, and then there you are in the vacuum of space in your cockpit, and it's an incredible type of thing, because you look down, you see your arms, you look over your shoulders, the cockpit everywhere, space all around you, and I mean, it really gave you an awesome feeling of being in a ship. I mean, like what you wanted to feel like when you were a kid. And everything just handles great, because it doesn't do the crazy stupid shit like a lot of the other games do that we've discussed, where you turn and all of a sudden you're going that way.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's totally independent. Your head, which is awesome, because then it gets into the combat portion of things with the missiles and locking on, where they're two separate things. You got your target reticle right in front of you. That is basically where your ship is aimed. That's where your normal guns aim. And then your missiles, you move and you can track with your head and lock onto the targets. And so I mean, it's really intense as you're going and bursting and barrel rolling and all this shit. You can look at, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, there was actually I know that I didn't play it this way to begin with, or I'm 99% sure I didn't play it this way when I first played this game. But there's an option to use your head tracking for normal firing.
Oh, really? Just regular?
Yeah.
Really?
So that reticle is just moving around with you, just like using your blasters and just taking ships down, and also at the same time, like you said, you're using a reticle to paint your targets to keep the lock on missiles.
Yep.
So it felt pretty good. I think combat was great.
Yeah. And they did something, maybe this isn't for, obviously, well, other people might have a different opinion, but no nausea, no, it gave you the sense of vertigo, if that's the correct terminology, when you can feel that sense of like moving around quick, and like you feel like you're moving, but no stomach upset. It didn't do like Skyrim, unfortunately, would always get me like, ugh, give me that woozy feeling after
really?
a little bit of playing. Yeah. But this, no matter how fast I moved around, it was like, oh, but it still didn't give you that, nauseous feeling that some type of games can do.
Nice.
But I almost think the machine gun fire and the missiles tracking together with your head movement would take away another whole strategy layer of combat, because like I liked the fact that these guns meant nothing if I'm shooting at something there. It's like you had to maneuver. So it was like I liked the franticness of having to readjust where you were flying and aiming at constantly, and then avoiding, the attacks that were coming towards you too.
Well, I'll tell you what it made me feel like, and I can't remember now. I think maybe one of Dez's last episodes that he did with me was Eve Gunjack.
Ah, okay.
So Eve Gunjack was almost like Galaga. It was, you picture this game, but you're basically sitting stationary at a turret station on a space station, and you're looking around using head tracking and going, just firing at things coming at you. And this game feels a lot like that, except also gives you the ability to fly around and like take total control in a spaceship. And so using that head tracking with the blasters, or whatever the machine guns are called, made me feel like, oh, this is just the far superior version of that game.
Right.
So this was pretty good. I really enjoyed it, to be honest with you. And it sounds like it's very enjoyable both ways, regardless of which control scheme you use.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's also like the typical stuff you'd expect in a space shooter like this. The thrust, boost. There's actually it's not a terribly complicated game.
No, not at all. It's very simple. I think the X was your burst or your thrust.
Yeah.
Circle kind of slowed you down almost to the point of stopping.
Yeah.
Which at times I would find that doing like the Last Starfighter type of shit, which is a great movie. I got to rewatch that. It's been a long time. I saw that in the theater in Maine when I was a kid. My parents, my sister made us leave early. She was older and was slightly frightened by one of the aliens towards the end. So we had to leave. Anyways, this, remember how it towards in that movie where he kind of like went into some weird kind of crazy mode, The Last Starfighter, where he was stationary and he just kind of shot everywhere, all directions, and just took out like the whole fucking fleet. At times, I almost would do that where I would try to slow down drastically, and then I would just be sitting there looking around, shooting at everything coming around me. Then poof, take off again, and
Yeah.
kind of rinse and repeat.
There was
So I mean,
definitely frequently times where there was so many enemies on screen at once. Where
yeah,
there was just like little orange reticles everywhere. Where you're like, oh, which one do I take down first?
yeah, it can get pretty frantic.
Yeah,
And then when your
overwhelming,
hull has been breached, you're like, oh fuck, I'm done.
right? And then when
You
you have
know?
like giant destroyers and stuff with like turrets on board, where like you actually have to approach these giant ships with caution. Like
Yeah,
I thought that was actually pretty intimidating. Where you're like, oh, I got to keep my distance and like or you know strafe around or something, flank from a better angle.
oh yeah,
I thought that was a lot of fun. Even like using asteroids to your advantage. Like, oh, I'm going to hide behind this asteroid for a second over here.
yeah. You can almost plan your attack out, especially if you fucking die a bunch in certain missions, and you're like, god damn.
Yeah,
But yeah, it was really awesome with some of those big freighter crafts or whatever it is where you
freighters. Yeah,
shooting at the things and then diving up and around the ship and coming around the other way. Oh, it was really neat.
yeah, yeah. How you said like on some missions where you died a lot. Where did you find yourself dying a lot in this game?
Not tremendously, but on certain missions, like not like overall through the whole game,
Yeah,
no. But it was like two or three missions that for some reason really gave me a challenge, with a lot of the enemies. More, I think it was like when you play, you know how like you get tired, you kind of get lazy and you don't really want to put much of that effort in.
yeah.
Those are the times where it was like, all right, I'm gonna call it a night. And then you come back the next day and it's kind of a breeze.
Hey, first try, no problem.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
yeah. So 11 missions. Some of these missions easily completed under 5 minutes.
Oh yeah, yeah, some pretty quick.
Right. So I guess I always ask you this, but how long did it take you to finish this game?
So with the dying, I want to say it's about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's about where I landed as well.
Hmm.
Yeah. What did you think? So every so often you do unlock better weapons,
Yes.
right?
So the second, there was only three different missile unlocks you could do and two different like guns that you could unlock. Where was I? No, vice versa.
I think
There
you're,
was
yeah.
three different like, because one was like quick and rapid firing, but was like okay penetration wise. The other one was really good at penetrating faster moving things, but not so much on the things with thicker holes or whatever the terminology is. Then the last one wasn't so good with faster moving objects, but it did some pretty decent damage. And then your missiles, there was the ones you could just chew, chew, and they blow up, and then the other ones that blew up more of a radius.
I stopped listening after you said penetrate the first time.
you know,
Pretty much
it,
where I zoned out. So the stuff you unlocked, I
yep.
know it has the different stats on the screen. So you're like, oh yeah, this one is obviously stronger because it's 45
Yeah.
instead of 30. Did you see it? Did you find any real difference?
No, and that's why I was gonna say thank you for reminding me that I didn't really stick with anything else, but almost the basic weapons in the beginning. I liked them. I liked the rapid fire missiles,
Yeah,
and I liked the with the guns.
right.
I liked how the sounds changed, and they almost made it feel like there was a weight to your weapons when you were in the ships, because they were
Yeah.
as opposed to so it felt more powerful, but it certainly didn't feel if
Yeah.
that it felt and feel.
No,
Yeah, you know what I'm getting at.
no, trust me. I just finished playing it again, like for the second time, and
Yeah,
I'm 100% right there with you.
yeah.
Yeah, let's dive into the graphics, man. What did you think? How did this game look on the OG PS4?
I thought it looked great. I mean, like I mean, for a game that came out towards the beginning cycle of everything VR related, it's definitely. Was there visual updates since the patches
Yep,
through the years?
yep.
Oh, well, it looks great. I mean, you can always in the background, huge ass planets. There's like meteors floating around, debris when you blow up shit. And then I'm fairly certain I never flew by one, but I'm pretty certain that those little skull symbols when you blow up a ship might be the person floating in space that you just killed.
Oh, I didn't question that. I was just like, oh, that's just like the ship that's blown up and dead. It's gone. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
you'd
didn't
see
even
the
think about that.
debris and then the skull, and it would just kind of linger there for a little bit. And I always wanted to fly over and see, but I never did.
Usually pretty far away.
Yeah, yeah.
Huh. We'll have to investigate that. Yeah, dude, on the Pro, like, I mean, you said for a game that came out 3 years ago, and I'm gonna say this game could have come out today, and I'd be
For
like,
real.
wow, like I think, and for me, everything looked nice, as everything you were saying, I totally agree with, but I think the stark lighting that they used in this game was so impressive, and I don't even know like what the shadows and everything look like on the OG, but
Hmm.
there's usually light radiating off of a planet or from a star or from the sun, and the way that it hits your cockpit, it's just like it casts these really strong shadows over your body, the cockpit as a whole, and every time you turn, it's just like the shadows just move and it looks beautiful. And it's like, man, I wish I kind of wanted to just stop and take all this in and enjoy it, but it's like getting fired on from every angle. It's like I can't even hang out and just enjoy how good this game looks.
I stopped after you said cock, and hole. No, but no, I wonder with that, with the lighting. They didn't. I mean, everything looked great on there, but that shadow and the planet radiating off the light. I don't know if I experienced that on this one here, the good old G
I think you would have
OG.
noticed right away, man. I think you would
I
have
think I would have,
noticed. So maybe,
but I
maybe
was
that's
blown away with it all, anyways. But that's why I never like to, you'd be like, here, try it. And when I was at your house, and then I'd see it on the OG, I mean the Pro, and I'm like, oh my god.
right.
And then I get home and play it on mine. I'm like, ugh, this is like, like that Eddie Murphy when that skit, like, I got McDonald's, remember? And then your buddy with the Wonder Bread sandwich. I felt like I was dealing with Wonder Bread over here compared to your McDonald's over there.
You're on a different level today, man. You're on a totally different level. Um, so okay, so the game looks amazing.
Yeah.
It plays really well.
Sounds good too. The good sound effects.
Yeah, and like definitely quite a few different tracks on the soundtrack as well.
Hmm.
I feel like from an audio video perspective, this game is like knocking it out of the park.
Yeah. Yeah.
What didn't you like about this game?
I didn't like how alone it was in the fight. There wasn't even AI dudes, on your team. I wish there was like leaderboard type of stuff where how fast maybe you cleared a mission, or I don't know, just something like that, because I'd always see you and AJ on there and I'd be like, God damn, on certain games. And it would always keep me to want to play more, to try to at least rank up. So when you saw my score, it wouldn't be like, oh, Jeremy's way down there.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, I wish it had a multiplayer, would have been incredible. That if it could, or co-op play, if
Yeah.
you and another player could just go in and do some missions. I mean, there's not too much I could say that I wish there was. Maybe more of a story. That would be the big one, instead of just random missions. If it was an overarching, really gave you that feeling that you needed to complete all of these missions because the weight of the world and the fate of everybody is in your hands.
I mean, it seemed like they were tied in together, but I didn't.
They were a little bit, yeah.
And I feel like I hear myself saying this a lot lately, but I just didn't care about the story.
Yeah, because there wasn't much of one. It didn't give any kind of. It was just kind of like a day in the life of this dude in space.
Right. And all the missions were like fairly similar in terms of,
Very.
it was like, okay, on this mission you're going to go out and make sure you take down all the enemies. And the next mission was like,
Mhm.
okay, you're going to go out and one of our ships is being attacked by the enemy, so go take out all the enemies. And I was like, that feels like the same mission.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that. And then
You're
like,
stealing that stuff for the hyperdrives. Go out and kill those enemies. You
right,
know.
the difference between each mission is so subtle that like if they didn't tell me why I was killing all the enemies, I'd be like, this is the same mission.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. And so like with Hypervoid that we talked about last week, there
yeah.
were there were some of those interesting levels where it was like, okay, here's your starship graveyard where you're just slowly going through. And I was like, man, how great would it be if Endspace had a level like that where you like they say, okay, go make your rounds.
Hmm.
Go from checkpoint to checkpoint and make sure that everything's safe and secure. And you get to like the third or fourth checkpoint and something's amiss, something's awry, right?
Yeah,
And just whatever it is, it makes you go, huh? There's a little more here than just go out and kill enemies,
yeah,
right? It
yeah.
just feels like this game is missing heart. Like it's just this is like an arcade shooter, and it's like, but it feels like with just a little bit more effort, it could have transcended arcade shooter. Been like,
Yeah.
oh, here's like a narrative driven space shooter.
right? Yeah, it's like somebody painted the fence that's leading to the street, but they didn't paint the side of the fence that's facing their home.
Right.
So they almost got it all. You know, they were so close. You're right.
Yeah.
Because I mean, gameplay, visually, audibly, all of that, the handling, great. But the story was just very boring, you
Yeah.
know?
There's no cutscenes like at all.
No,
Zero.
nothing.
Um,
Nothing.
and even there's no launch sequence. There's no like when you
No.
leave the base, you're just already in space, and then
Yep.
there's no landing sequence. Like you're not coming back to the base when you finish the mission. Like a very mobile VR boring menu screen pops up that says this is
Yeah.
how many enemies you killed. This is how long it took you. Retry or go to the main menu.
Yep.
It's just like
That's
oh,
it.
okay.
Rinse and repeat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, okay. So yeah, it's so very. They absolutely nailed so many parts of this,
Yeah.
and but then all the stuff that usually like makes a game gel that like really brings all those parts together, we're just totally missing.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't know how difficult. Again, I've never made a game, but like, if you got a game that there's full motion, you would think that when you were out of the cockpit and you were on the main craft there, getting your missions, that you could move around and like walk, because walking to your ship or walking to the area to select a mission, something like that even would get you more of a feeling of immersion. Not that this didn't really have it already with the craft, but
Right.
I think it just fleshed out some stuff and made you feel the game feel more whole if you were able to do like those things you were saying, like get in the craft, fly off. You know, there'd be more of an overarching story, even if it was simple, where, oh my God, we're being raided by these people. They're trying to take this around this orbit. Now we got to go and get them.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I think we need to rate the sucker.
Yeah, I agree.
Squeaky chair. What's our rating scale?
All right. One is absolutely, you need this game. This is what you're going to ask Santa for. And if he doesn't bring it, you're going to wait next year and take him out.
Wait.
Two,
Santa?
Santa. Yeah,
Santa?
you want this
Is
game
Christmas
so
in
bad.
July? I mean, it's June. Like, we want this game so bad we're willing to wait 7 months for it.
True. Well, it's so bad that you call upon the magic of Santa to make it winter now and bring you the gift now. You want it bad.
So
Very bad.
I want to be clear. This is the first time I've ever objected to your rating scale.
I know, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Because what is it's waiting? I think Santa like, ooh. And two is like you get this game, wait for another sale. It's been on sale. How many times did you say now?
Over 10. Over 10.
Over 10. So it's going to be on sale soon. Wait and buy it. You won't regret it. You'll love it. Three, don't bother. Again, save you money. Order Brian a pizza. Do anything else but play this game.
Well, I want to give it a 3 just so everyone will order me a pizza. But I can't do that, Jeremy, because this game is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think they nailed everything from basically the start of the mission to the end of the mission. Like the stuff that most people would say this is the only part that matters, they actually totally nailed.
Yeah.
It feels good, it looks good, it sounds good, it's fun. I love the feeling of being out in space. Like you said, it does feel like it should. And I love when a ship goes flying past you and you have to like totally spin your perspective. I was actually sitting in one of these chairs, like a spinning office chair today while I was playing it, and I was like, and I felt like I was in like a Star Wars movie or something, like in an X-wing, and I was like spinning around, like bringing my turret over, and it's like it just felt really really good. I was excited to play it, and then about 4 missions in, I was like, oh man, that's right. This is what the game is. It's just a lot of this. And so the thing it does really good, it does that, but then it doesn't do anything else.
Yeah.
And as somebody who grew up with every Wing Commander game ever made, I was like, this is such a small dev team. I think the original team was only about 2 people.
Oh wow.
Right, it's like, and I checked the credits today, and it seemed like by the time the PlayStation VR version came out, they were up to maybe 6. So it's a very very small team. So I'm not expecting like Origin, style cutscenes with Mark Hamill and all this stuff that you would see in Wing Commander. I'm not expecting that, and so I started questioning. I was like, what do I expect for a $20 game? And I started thinking about all the other $20 games out there. And I was like, I don't expect Wing Commander, but I do expect just a little bit more. And so because of that, I need to give it a 2, but it's actually a pretty strong 2 because I really do enjoy this game quite a bit, even though it's fairly basic. I don't even like calling it basic because again, what it does really well. It's a strong 2 for
Yeah.
me. What
No,
about
I
you?
get what you're saying. So I'm like right on with you on a bunch of that shit. It is absolutely really fun to play, and it's fun to play in increments over a span of time instead of just one sit through. You get
Absolutely.
bored with it pretty quick. But going back in and it's like every day, if you play it again, it's that like wow, it's really neat.
Yeah.
It just really gives you that feeling. And like you're saying, there were times I'm sitting there and I am in the swivel chair when I play too. So, I mean, I'd be like, whoa, as I'm looking around it, and
Yeah.
like I'm moving the analog as well too. So my craft is like doing, and I mean, it's like the motion's limitless. There's no like holdback. There's no like, I wish it would do this.
Right.
It does whatever you need it to do. Is if you were in a real ship, it's going to do what you need it to do. And I love the displays and the visuals inside the ship. I loved the glass would crack,
Mm-hmm.
as your hull was getting damaged and all that stuff. And I like the head tracking with the missiles and then the regular gunfire with the other reticle. And I thought the mission based thing, it was weak. That's the weakest part is the fact that it was just mission after mission after mission after mission with zero reason to do these missions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's no sense of urgency to do it. It's just because we made this here it is.
Yeah.
And but if it had a strong story, it would absolutely, in my books, be a one. With the story matching the gameplay, no doubt. But because it lacked the story, I mean, there was story, but we're being nitpicky, but not. Whoever hasn't played it, if they do play it, they'll get why.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
But without a doubt, a solid two. And if this had a better story, this is a one. But it's a very strong two.
Yeah, I mean, we said last week about Hypervoid. We really want to see what those guys could do with a sequel, and I feel like that applies this week even more, because I
Yeah.
think Endspace is so close to being like a must-have game. If they just had a little bit more mission variety, if they were able to throw some more story in there,
Yeah.
launching sequence, landing sequence, all of that stuff, just kind of flesh it all out, man. It's like you're so close that I think
Yeah.
Endspace 2 could be amazing.
Even bring
Absolutely
in
amazing.
refueling in space like they did in the old Nintendo Top Gun game.
Oh God.
Where you have to refuel. I'd be sick if there were times that you had to refuel in this game too. Somehow, there's a lot of things they could do with it.
So many things. So many
Yeah.
things. But yeah, I was like really, really impressed. I can't say I was like super looking forward to this episode. But man, once I got in there and I was like looking around, like, oh, I really enjoy being out in space. This game is criminally underrated. I think this game gets a lot of shit that it doesn't
Yeah.
deserve. I think this is a really fun space shooter.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It gives you such an awesome sensation of flying near those ships that you're attacking and then flying away and swooping around. I mean, it's shit you've wanted when you were a kid to do. Now
Yeah.
you can kind of do it right in your goddamn living room.
Right? In VR.
Yeah,
It's crazy. The future is
it is.
awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, until you step outside, then the future's not so awesome.
Yeah, listen.
But in the confines of our home,
Don't tell. Listen, if people from the past are watching this, everything's
yeah,
gonna be just fine. Don't worry. Don't worry.
right.
Don't freak out. Don't go crazy. Everything's gonna be all right. Right.
Yeah.
Just know that video games are gonna be awesome.
This is the last piece of footage the last human on Earth watches. Is you and I talking about this, and they're wrong.
Oh man, I wish we were more entertaining. This is the last thing somebody's gonna see. That's really disappointing that this is it.
And you never know.
Let us know, guys, in the comments below what you thought of Endspace. Did you play it before all the patches? Did you play it after all the patches? Did you play it on the Pro? Did you play it on the OG? If you played it on the OG, talk to me about the lighting. I want to see if that's an OG thing or if that's a Pro thing.
Yeah,
What's going
yeah.
on there? But also, we want to know what other games you want us to play. The list is long. It keeps getting longer. Although I have no idea what we're playing next week because I'm not
I
really
don't
on top
either.
of my game. We'll figure it out though.
Yep.
So cool. Jeremy, thanks for hanging out with me for another episode of Why We Love PlayStation VR. My name is Brian Paul.
And I'm Jeremy King.
And we'll see you
Next week.